I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is going on, everyone? This is episode 3 of I Am Not Okay With This, and I'm here with my lovely panel. Up to the top right, that's my right, that may be your left or your bottom left, I don't know. Kelsey, please, say hi to everyone.
Hi, hey!
And then we got the infamous DJ, internationally known on the decks and the pinky ring, Div.
Pinky ring.
What's up?
Not internationally known, but
Come on.
Hello.
Hello. And hello, I am Ricky, and I am your host today. So, episode 3 was my favorite one thus far because it had a bunch of high school cliches from the beginning to the end. I would like to start off this discussion with how funny was it when Sydney and Dina are at the mom's restaurant and they were discussing what Sydney and Stanley did the night before. And they so happened to discuss out loud how Stanley went down on Sydney, and the little brother overheard. Please tell me what was going on through the both of your minds when that happened. And the little brother said, "Where's Stanley going?"
That scene was amazing. I thought that was hilarious because it was perfect when Sid is describing this whole thing to Dina. She's like having her internal dialogue saying how much she hated it and this and that. She's like, oh no, I didn't like it. I don't want to do it again. But like vocalizing to Dina, oh yeah, it was great. He's good at this and good at that. So then Liam like re-bringing it back up and just being like, Sid, where's Stan going? Oh, it was so good. It was so cringy. You're just like, oh yeah, that's perfect. It was the perfect little cherry on top of that moment.
Yeah, it was super awkward. And then right after he asks her that, Stanley pulls up in the car.
Yeah.
And you can tell like Sid is just super, super awkward. Like she's like, oh, gotta go. And then like, yeah, she just ran off. But it was hilarious. Her little brother's like so adorable.
He's so cute.
He really
so
is adorable.
Pure.
Innocent.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that would make me feel. I mean, I know if my mother heard me say that and was like, wait, what's going on? I would be mortified.
Yeah.
Absolutely mortified. And a little brother hearing that, it's just like you have to be a really good person who knows how to improv, because that is the definition of knowing how to like think on the tip of your toes, on the balls of your feet.
Oh, it's
so I thought that was a funny way to actually start it off, right? So and then we kind of, as this episode goes on, you know, we kind of go into Sydney, us finally understanding how her father died. He kills himself inside of the basement, and she finally has to go down into the basement. This is her first time that she's having to even open up that door since her dad died. How did that make you feel when she actually heads down there? Well, actually, let me stop for a second. Before her going to open up the door and proceed down the steps and go into the basement, did that give you anxiety? Because it was giving me anxiety because I wasn't sure what I was going to expect, because they make it look like it's this big thing. Like she hasn't gone downstairs. Like, why hasn't she? So it's for when she opens up that door and then she's down there, like walk through the process on how that made you feel.
The lead up to that is good, I feel like, to that scene, because it's she and her brother trying to figure out what to do, and Liam wants to build a puzzle, so she's like, no, please, anything but a puzzle, anything but me having to go down to that basement. And yet you think it's going to be, it's like, what is she going to walk into when she goes down to this basement? I mean, like, what are you going to see? So as the audience, you're just like, oh God, no, don't go down to the basement. It's scary down there. Don't go down. So yeah, and totally gave me anxiety. I felt the same way. I was like, this is not going to be pretty. But then she goes down and I feel like it's eerie, but it's not as bad as you were expecting, maybe. At least that's how I felt.
Yeah, it was definitely scary at first, and then when she's down there, it's kind of like you feel sad because it's. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, my parents are both around, but I could definitely relate in the sense that you know I couldn't imagine losing my dad or
Mm.
anyone in my family for that matter. But what made me like what was weird about the scene was when the hedgehog died. Like I was like, how did that happen? Like I honestly don't know, but it was I feel bad for Liam, honestly. Like the bad
No.
banana,
Banana Wigglesworth. Talk about a great name.
such a shame. Great name, great
Such
name.
a good name. No, that scene, I agree with you. It was kind of confusing. It was weird because you see her powers kind of like translate through. I mean, the hedgehog wasn't like right in front of her, right? It was like upstairs with her brother, and you just hear him scream, and the hedgehog is dead, and you're like, wait, what? Like she's powerful.
So how do you think the hedgehog died? Like, do you feel Sydney had something to do with it? And if so, how do you feel like she killed it? Because it looks to be, I mean, it looked to me that she didn't really know that that even happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think she knew, but you could I don't remember. I think maybe that like books were shaking or something. Like something in the energy in the room was just like was just weird. And I guess the force of the energy in the room killed the hedgehog. It's kind of weird.
Right, right. She
Yeah.
starts how it's like she's having one of those little like flashback panic attack moments, and you know that something's gonna happen. So when her brother screams, you're like, oh, something happened, something fell, something cracked. But then it's like the hedgehog died, and it was kind of eerie because she's down there, obviously in the basement where her father killed himself, and then she just kills this other thing. So it's this kind of, yeah, creepy, eerie sort of situation where I think she realized it. She's like, "Oh crap. I just did that. I have the powers to do that to a thing." And it's a, yeah, poor banana.
Poor banana.
Poor
Poor banana.
banana. So now
Notes.
this cute little hedgehog is now passed and is moving on into the heavens. Now they have to, now the little brother asks her to bury the hedgehog.
Mhm.
And the little brother asks her to say something. And then she says what she says. I mean, if that was you, I mean, if you accidentally killed your brother or your sister's pet, and
Yeah.
they ask you, can you say something? Like, what would, what do you think would be your, you know,
Your eulogy.
speech? Yeah,
It was
exactly.
You know, I actually had this is not comparable at all
Uh-oh.
because my sister did not kill my fish, but I had a moment growing up where both of my goldfish died, and I was too sad to speak when we were burying them, so my sister had to give a speech, and I think that Sid did a way better job than my sister did because my sister kept getting the names wrong of my goldfish, and so I
Okay.
was freaking out because she's, like, trying to give this eulogy and saying the wrong name of my goldfish, but it made me think of this while I was watching this scene because I was like, "Dang, I'm sort of like I'm resonating with Liam," which I mean, the whole show, you're like, "Oh, you feel for Sydney, right?" And I'm kinda like, "Oh, poor Liam." I've been in those shoes, and I think Sydney actually kind of did a good job for him saying what she said and telling him that dad was gonna be there with the hedgehog, and it was kind of a it was a short, like a little brief scene, but it was a deep scene. It was a lot of emotions in that scene.
Yeah, it got deeper towards the end of her eulogy because I don't think she really had a connection to the hedgehog, to
Right.
Banana, rest in peace. But she definitely rest in peace. She definitely had a connection like with her father. So I think she used that as a place to say things to her father that maybe she couldn't have said, right? So
Right.
it definitely shows like that her father's passing has taken a major toll on her life in general.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Which is granted, right? You know, it's
Of course.
for
Yeah.
someone. I'm gonna just speak on this very fast, but for someone like myself, like I lost my dad at the age of 11. So you know,
Mhm.
it definitely, as a kid in high school, it's definitely a profound thing to lose any parent at, you know, that age, because you're still so young, you're still growing, you're still developing into the person that you are going to become. So yeah, it's definitely I could tell that Sid's definitely going through a bunch of things that, and now with all of these superpowers, it's a lot of things happening at one time
At once. And while she's in
for
high
a
school.
kid. And while
At a horrible
exactly,
age. Yeah.
And her
speaking
mom's
about
not
high
really-
school, right? And her mom's
Yeah.
not being the
Right.
best mom that she could be.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about high school, now you have Sid and Dina headed to the cool party,
Mm.
and they head inside. Everything's going great, and then look who strolls in, Mr. Brad the jock. And then you get all of these people like Bradley, Bradley, and it's just
I
like
hated that scene.
it was such an annoying scene because
Yeah.
I was an athlete. However, I knew people that used to do that for other teammates of mine, and even being with them, it's just annoying to hear. Like it's just not a cool thing to be a part of, at least for me.
Yeah.
So tell me that scene where it's Sydney and Dina are there. Dina promises she's not going to leave Sid. Brad comes in, boom, gives her the googly eyes, and Brad has Dina on a short leash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Dina's so whipped. But before they
Young
even,
love. She doesn't know what she's doing.
yeah, she has no idea. But like before they even get to the party, there's a scene where Dina's putting makeup on Sid, and I
Mhm.
think like Sid obviously she like showed up in like sweats or whatever. She wasn't planning on dressing up pretty or with makeup, but Dina kind of gives her that like she feels herself, like she feels good about herself almost, right?
Mhm.
So then
Mhm.
when Bradley walks in and just ruins the moment completely, like she's obviously not in a good mood. And then that scene where Bradley's giving his speech, like that made me hate him 15 times. 15
Oh, you hate it.
Totally.
And it's like you guys are a bunch of high schoolers, and he's like giving this speech about this kid's annual birthday party that his
Yeah.
parents let him throw. Oh, it's so distasteful.
So-
And going back to that scene you were talking about too, where Dina's putting makeup on Sid, and she kind of almost you think she's going to tell her about her powers, and then she doesn't. They kind of have a little moment where Dina's like, yes, I feel that way too. I feel so different. Like Brad's friends didn't laugh at my joke. And Sid's like, really?
right.
Really? Really, sister? Like, what's happening? Sid's already kind of uncomfortable going to this party. She doesn't want to go to this party. It's out of her comfort zone. She's like, Dina, don't leave me. And then the second Bradley walks in, you're like, and she's gone. And this is going to end poorly for Sid.
Yes. So now Sid is left alone, and then Sid, basically stumbles across Dina all alone in a bedroom, laying down like she said. And
Mhm.
then as quickly as we get to it, they lay together. They're looking at each other, and lo and behold, Sydney thinks that they're having a moment, which I thought they were having a moment as well,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
lays one on her. And Dina, in the beginning, she doesn't back off fast. Like
Yeah.
it takes like a second
Yeah.
or two
Yeah.
for her to process what's going on,
Yeah.
which I kind of think that Dina may be like, I think she may have enjoyed it for a second, but then got freaked out by it.
Mhm.
She was
I
also
mean,
drunk,
if
though.
someone, what? Huh?
She was also drunk, right? Like she probably didn't really know what was going on.
Right. Well, isn't this
Right.
after Sid asks? Yeah, it's after Sid, or I'm sorry, Stan asked Sid to homecoming too. So it's like
Yeah.
you're like, oh yay, this is so happy for them, and then clearly that is not even registering in Sid's mind because she still wants to go and like, yeah, kiss Dina, and so
Yeah.
you're like, oh God, you're hurting for Stan, but it's also just like so uncomfortable for all of them.
Yeah.
And yet you're right. Dina plays it off. She's like, "Oh, we're drunk. Like we're drunk, Sid." But I agree with you, Ricky, too, that she's still confused. Like when Sid leaves the room after kissing her, she's like, "Wait, no, are we? I thought we were going to talk about this." It wasn't like a, "Oh, ew, get out" sort of situation.
Right. Right.
Yeah, she wasn't
And
grossed out by
it's
it.
Mm-hmm.
no. No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, she definitely was not grossed out about it. But what threw me off was like Sid and Stanley obviously had, you know, their moment or whatever in episode 2, and then now Stanley's obviously kind of head over heels for her, and he's asking her to homecoming, and he's got this blue suit on, which looks cool on him and all that. But in her head, when he's asking her to homecoming, she's like I don't want to go with you. So
Mhm.
I was thrown off by like why she went from kind of liking Stan to like, you know, being, you know, doing things with Stan to
Yeah,
being like, oh, I don't want him at all. It kind of threw me off. I don't know.
I
I
agree
feel
with
like the reason why you may be thrown off a bit, and I don't know, I see this. I'm seeing this all unfold for Sydney. There's a lot of things happening, just like I said
you.
before, at one time. You have her dad dies, her thing with her mom, Sid doesn't feel loved. Then she uh is now she has these powers. It's like all of these growing pains that are happening for a
Mhm,
kid on
mhm,
top of being wanting to be accepted by the cool people in
mhm,
school,
mhm,
and then having you secretly or subconsciously fall in love with your best friend and not know it yet
mhm.
until you have a moment and then you kiss and then you having all these, there's just a lot going on
Yeah.
for Sydney now that not everyone knows, not even Stanley. Like Stanley really only knows about her powers, but
Right.
doesn't really know like everything else. So it's kind of an accumulation of a lot of things happening all at once that's making her just go bonkers. She doesn't know what she's feeling, like because she's feeling
Mhm.
so much.
And it's
Hmm.
almost like Dina's kind of her comfort zone. You know, Dina's what's like consistent for her in all of this. I mean, she talks in the earlier episodes about how Dina held her hand when she cried about her dad. You know, it's like we see that her mom's not really there for her. She kind of takes care of her younger brother. Stands this new curveball that she's not like for sure about yet. So Dina, yeah, leaving her, and then she goes back to try and be like, "Oh, Dina, I need you." Kisses her. Dina, it's a whole, yeah. Sydney's crumbling, and it's like you can see that.
But I feel for her though, because she's
Oh
17.
yeah,
She doesn't know who she is yet, and she's going through
right.
all these things internally, and then she's dealing with all these other things externally too. So it's like she's going through a lot at 17, probably more than I went through at that age. Like,
Oh, God, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And on top of that, she is now questioning, am I straight or gay? Because
Right,
now she had this like
right.
urge to kiss her friend,
Mhm,
and she did it, and now she has that feeling flowing through her body as well. So
mhm,
there's just so much going on
mhm.
for her. I feel for her. I really, really, really do. I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's just a tough time for her. So
I should
Yeah,
now
give her a hug.
I
we
know,
should
right?
give
I
her a
just want to
hug.
like
I
talk through the
know.
screen and just be like, it's okay, baby girl. Everything's gonna pan out the way it's supposed to
Good
be.
acting. I know you do. You feel so badly for her. You do.
Yeah.
Really. But see, that's what it's cool because you know that the actors are doing what they're supposed to be
Yep,
doing because they're making us feel a certain way.
absolutely.
That's how you know that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Because you almost even feel in that moment, I was also like I wasn't just thinking when Sydney kisses Dina, I was also thinking about poor Stanley. Poor
Yeah.
Stanley who like put himself together and was really excited to ask her for homecoming. He leaves his house in his little blue suit and his dad calls him like a faggot, you know, and it's like
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
Stan's clearly going through something too, and he thinks he's found something in Sid. He gets up the courage to ask her to homecoming. Sid kind of says yes, but blows it off and is clearly focused on Dina. So it's like there's so many different elements to that, right? It's like you
yeah.
feel for Sid, you feel for Dina because of course Dina's probably confused. Then you feel for poor Stan who just asked her to homecoming and thinks he's on top of the world, and it's like, you're not on top of the world. This is going on. So,
Yeah. You know
oh
who
man,
I don't feel bad for is
Bradley. He's
I
the
could have put a
actual
million
worst.
dollars on that.
He's the worst.
I could have.
literally.
He is. He really is the worst. Uh, but before we head on even more or further, I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and making us the ESPN of TV talk. Without you lovely human beings, there would be no us and there would be no AfterBuzz. So we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Please continue to subscribe, comment, share, like. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if there are some things that you would love to see us do. If there's some shows that we're not doing already that you want to see us do. But most importantly, with what's going on currently with the state of the world, not even just the country, but with the state of the world, please be safe, social distance. If you have to go outside, give yourself like at least a 6-foot space, and just really, 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 care for yourself and care for those around you. Most importantly, the elderly, because there seem to be getting a really huge effect on this. So we don't want grandma or grandpa dying earlier than they should be. So, but
Dang right.
with all of that, we love you. Thank you for all of your support. And yes, we love
Stay
you.
inside and watch out.
Stay inside and watch us. We're giving you content. We're giving you something to do. I don't want to hear no excuses saying there's nothing to do on board. Well, you know what? Tune into AfterBuzz TV. And I would like to speak about one last thing. So we see Sydney run away, embarrassed, freaking out. Things are going crazy. Yeah. She almost gets hit by a car that seems to be Stanley. We don't know yet for sure. But then she heads into the woods. And at this point, she gets so angry that we see her scream and literally blow down all the trees around her. And at this point, this is a crucial moment for how powerful her superpowers have gotten. And they seem to be progressively getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So speak to me, like when you saw that, what was your initial thought?
I was shocked. It's crazy that her powers went from making Bradley's nose bleed to now knocking down trees in the forest.
Right.
And she was angry. Like her level of anger was 15 out of 10. Like she was sweating.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it was insane. And then obviously we saw the car crash, which we think is Stanley's. So I hope he's okay, which I guess we'll find out in the next episode. But yeah, it's her powers have gotten out of control.
Yeah, it's like they've grown exponentially, and she clearly has no idea still what's happening. It's like I think she's starting to come to grips with like, okay, I get mad, I get angry, something happens. But then it's almost, I feel like gets more mad at the fact that she can't get mad at or angry without something happening, and it's like, this was huge. I mean, you have both the hedgehog and then the hedgehog dying, which is killing something huge. And then the trees, you're like, whoa, her powers are getting, out of control.
But it's like if you're in her position, right? And you go through these different instances where you notice things are happening because of your anger levels. Like you'd be like, okay, this guy's nose bled, probably just a coincidence. Oh, hamster died or hedgehog died, probably just a coincidence. But like trees,
yeah,
that's something's up.
Not like one, it was all of them.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Crazy.
Emotional.
I'm afraid. Like I kind of don't want to watch anymore because I don't want her to do something to me.
Right? Well, and
that is how strong.
Yeah. And you think, I mean, the foreshadowing, right? You think it's Stanley's car, right? So you know that if that is, that they're about to be in this together again because he probably witnessed this happen, right? So you're like, holy cow, what now? What can possibly happen now? And it is pretty crazy. It's like, what else is she gonna do? It's gonna get worse from here, probably. It is scary.
How freaked out would you be if you guys were watching the show and then your nose started bleeding?
Right? We're like,
stop watching.
It's crazy.
Well,
can you imagine having powers and be like, no, I know it's not real, but like that's so wild. You're in this angsty teenage years, and you're like, oh, and I also just like blew down a zillion trees because I got pissed off. Like, am I not allowed to be pissed off? Poor thing. I'm like, it's crazy.
So to touch on your whole nosebleed thing, funny enough, in high school, I used to always get nosebleed all the time.
Sorry.
And if that were to happen, if I was in high school going to watch this and that were to suddenly happen, that would have freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that would have for sure freaked me out a bit.
But
Yeah.
I'm guessing you weren't as bad as Bradley. Like,
Yeah, were you like Bradley?
I mean, I would go in a pool and come out and my nose would be bleeding.
No.
that sounds
But
like
you weren't a loser like Bradley. You were nicer than Bradley.
No, I'm still a nice guy, but I was such a nice kid. Such a nice
Yeah,
kid.
you're good.
Always wanted everyone to love me.
Mhm. No, it's
Now in my old age, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like me or not, I'm gonna
This is
do
what
it.
you got.
This is what you get, everyone. But yes, so I'm excited to see what episode 4 is gonna bring us. Like I'm excited to see how Sydney's powers is gonna continue to evolve and what's going to unravel in the next episode and the final 3 after that.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's 7 episodes.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Do you think I'm curious when she'll start to get like a grip on her powers, or if she'll want to even. If she'll want to be able to control them, if she'll ignore them, I'm curious to see how that plays out.
I don't think she will. I don't think she
Yeah.
will get a grip of him. Like I have a feeling that she won't ever, and that might be the whole plot of the entire series is her trying to figure that out. But I don't think she will.
Be interesting.
That's a good prediction.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction.
Oh, I'm rooting for her. I want
All
her
right,
to get
so
hold of them.
tell everyone where they could find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Kelsmeyer2.
Because Kelsey Meyer the first was taken.
Was taken. That's right. I looked her up and I'm like, who's this chick? Kelsmeyer2. And I post all my stuff on there. So if I ever link anything, then you can go to that and follow me elsewhere.
You should DM her and see if you can buy it.
I
Maybe.
should.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys can find me at Davidge Vastwani on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the above. And yep.
And you can find me at Ricky Fitucci on all social media platforms. Thank you once again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And stay classy, my friends. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.